right, so let's begin with a basic distinction that my new book, Spreadable Media, Creating Meaning and Value in the Network Society, explains. This is a book I wrote with Joshua Green and Sam Ford. The book begins with a basic distinction between circulation and distribution. Distribution refers to the way media industries have historically worked, that is, controlling the spread of their content, whereas circulation refers to a new hybrid system that's partially shaped, at least, by authorized and unauthorized decisions of consumers. So, I use the word unauthorized to avoid the word piracy, but in some ways, piracy is part of how media spreads at the present moment. We can use, for example, CUNY 2012 as an example of a video that spread very far, very fast. This is a 30-minute human rights video produced by Invisible Children that the people who produced it expected to travel at a speed of about 500,000 viewers over 2 months. Instead reached 77 million viewers in 4 days' time through YouTube and social media. Just for point of perspective, the highest rated show on American television reached about 40 million viewers that week, and that same week, Hunger Games opened at the box office in the United States to about 14 to 15 million viewers. So more people saw CUNY 2012 in 4 days on YouTube than saw both Hunger Games and the highest rated shows on American television combined. This is extraordinary power of circulation. Now, the word viral doesn't begin to explain what happened with CUNY 2012. It wasn't that we were infected by a virus that we unknowingly passed along to the other people around us. That doesn't really explain the mechanism. We know very specific groups passed on that content for very specific reasons. We know that Invisible Children had built a base of support over 9 years around that video that became early adapters and spreaders of that content. That base of support involves students and churches, and we see very different messages get attached to that video as it travels through those different groups. So each of those participants are passing it along for their own reasons as part of ongoing conversations they're part of. And then that's what we mean by spreadability, the choices we make actively to spread the content we receive to other people. If you think about the flood of content that comes through our internet, our inbox every day, very little of it do we pass along. We pass it along to specific people through specific platforms with specific messages in response to specific conversations we're having. So there is no one-size-fits-all viral media. It's not like a song that gets stuck in our head. It's rather a set of resources we use for specific purposes to engage with the social networks we're part of. And so that's the distinction we're making between viral media and spreadable media. It's not that spreadable media is more effective than viral media. Viral media is a myth. It's a misunderstanding of what's going on. Spreadable media is the way social networks work together to shape the flow of cultural resources within their communities. So when we talk about spreadability, we're talking about a combination of authorized and unauthorized uses of material, right? People pass content to each other. The motives of the people who produce that content are often very different from the motives of the people who consume that content. The sense that for one person, for the company, it may be an advertisement. For the fan, it may be a gift they pass along to someone else they know as part of a conversation. They may pass along the video to critique it just as easily as they can pass along the video to celebrate it, right? That there are any number of reasons we pass along content. Any number of stories of videos that get passed along because people thought they were bad jokes, as well as videos that get passed along because people were excited about what they had to say. So that tells us that content moves between different economies, between the commodity culture, where mass media is produced, to the gift economy, where people share and exchange things with each other. So to use the example of a bottle of wine, most of us in this culture routinely buy things at stores and give them as gifts. We buy them as commodities and we pass them along. So when we buy a bottle of wine at the store, it's bound up with a whole set of economic relationships. I may buy it from a clerk I'll never see before. I pay money. It's a clean transaction. He doesn't owe me anything further. I don't owe him anything further. I pass it along to my friend as a gift. I come to dinner at his house. I bring a bottle of wine, and it shifts from a commodity to a gift. And often the magical moment where that change takes place is expressed by that simple act of removing the price tag. That as I remove the price tag, I'm saying let's no longer evaluate this as an economic transaction. Let's now evaluate it as a social transaction. It's never quite that simple, right? Someone could look at your bottle of wine and say, that's a really cheap bottle of wine. I bought you an expensive dinner and you only bought me a cheap bottle of wine. And you could a set of economic choices can intrude into the gift economy. That the sale of the wine may be bound up with expectations about its social use. These things are blurry. When we talk about media, we talk about something that may move back and forth between digital commodity culture and gift economies quite often in its circulation. And it may begin as a piece of mass media content. I may pass it along to a friend as a gift. My friend may then remix it and turn it into some new kind of video that borrows footage from one thing and combines it with music from another, a kind of fan vid. And the producing company may see that and say, this is a perfect commercial for my product, and adopt it as user-generated content and feed it back in or take inspiration from it and duplicate it. Mass media may report on the phenomenon of it traveling between place and place, and it ends up on the evening news or on talk television or whatnot. All of those transactions are movements back and forth between commodity culture and gift economies. And each of those are fraught with tension, right? It's not simple to take content that was sold as a commodity and turn it into a gift. Threatens the intellectual property regimes of companies in many cases. To take content that was generated at the grassroots level and turn it into a commodity again disrupts the gift economy in some profound ways. So we're just beginning to understand, where we're talking about digital content, the kinds of disruption or unpredictability, the friction that takes place as things move within a digital economy between different levels of cultural production and consumption.